Welcome back to the Coralogix DataPrime Academy course. In Module 12, we looked at joins and trace IDs, connecting logs across services. Now we're going to be exploring spans. Spans is quite a powerful data source for application performance monitoring. And today we're going to look at what a span looks like, analyze service performance, detect errors, and we're going to build out some production APM workflows, bringing everything that we've learned in the last module together. We'll see how spans complement logs and give you the full, complete picture of your application performance. So this is bringing, as I said, both logs and spans together, unifying observability with DataPrime. This is quite powerful because some traditional tools might keep this type of thing separate. So span, what's a span? So spans represent individual operations in your distributed applications. So let's have a look at what they look like. And for the first time, we're going to be using source spans instead of source logs. Looking at the last 6 hours, and we're just going to put a limit on this. And I've chosen some fields that I just want to show. So here we go. So some key fields here we can see we've got things like the trace ID, which we know connects the spans to the logs. We have things like the service name, the process, the operation name, what services performed the action, how long the operation took with duration, which is very important. Parent ID, so connecting it to the root span or the root trace. The additional metadata here, like HTTP status codes, database info, for example, with tags. Key insights here: spans give you the structured performance data, while the logs give you the detailed context. And together they give you rich correlation and a more complete observability. So let's build some real APM queries to monitor service performance. So here I'm just looking at overall performance metrics across all our spans. I'm grabbing it from source spans, of course, and then I'm using some aggregation here. I'm looking at total operations, average duration, and then we're looking at some percentiles, some P95s here. Let's have a look and see what this looks like. So we can see total operations in the last 4 hours. We have over nearly 500,000. Average duration at nearly 30 seconds, 95% of the time 30 seconds. Now we know spans have things like duration. We can take this a step further and find slow operations across all of our services. This here query is running and we're limited to 20, but we're basically filtering by duration over 1,000 milliseconds. We can instantly see here from our results that we have a certain function within our APM that needs looked at. It's over 60,000 milliseconds. Could be a broken function altogether. Okay, to finish, I want to bring everything together that we've been learning in the last 2 modules, actually over the whole course really. We're going to look at comprehensive APM. We're going to be using joins. So we're going to walk through a query that understands how to build comprehensive transaction analysis. Okay, so with that, I want to close out this module, bring everything that we have learned so far together. I want to build a complete comprehensive APM analysis. We'll go through it step by step. So let's start with looking at our spans. Let's have a look at what's field in the last 2 hours. So for this, I'm just using a simple tag of the status code. Anything over 399 will give us some field spans. Okay, cool. So we have our field spans here across all of our services. We have some from our front end, our load generator. Let's take it a step further. Let's join our root spans and correlate with some transactions. How long did they take? And the times of failure. So for that, we're going to run this join. Okay, so let me expand this a bit. Okay, so we're joining against our spans from the last 2 hours. How are we doing that join? Well, we're setting here our trace ID. We're giving that an alias as trace. We're using that trace ID then to combine these sources together. We're creating a new field, time to fail, and that's using the error timestamp, the root start time, so we're able to get that correlation of how long it's actually taken. So let's run this. So now we're seeing, for example, here our front end. We're seeing a service 500 or a status of 500, 1 millisecond to fail. We can see some other operations on our load generator, seeing how long that's taken. Fantastic. Now we can take this another step forward. We can join this with our logs, so that'll give us some of our rich some detailed context. And this is what this looks like. We're doing another join. How are we doing that join? We're using the same trace that we used earlier. And now we're actually doing some really clever things. We're aggregating all the counts, we're counting all the logs, but we're doing a count if, so anything over info will be a high severity log, so we can actually get some rich correlation. We're choosing what data we want to see from before, because we don't want to overload everything. We want to make this quite visually attractive. So we've got our start time, our time to fail. We want things like our error codes, the root action, starting action. Let's run this and see what it looks like. This is very clean, very detailed information here. We can see our front end failed after 2 milliseconds. We have logs, all logs surrounding that. We have some high severity logs around this, so we have context around it. So really we have the complete investigation story. We can now see things like on our load generator here, we have the exact time it took to process, 1 millisecond. We can see the error code, the 500 error code. We have 4 high severity logs around it, and we have a total of 8 logs captured. So we would really want to be examining those high severity logs for the root cause. In the last 2 modules, we have looked at understanding spans. We can see P95 analysis, error monitoring, we're unified analysis, bringing things together, really good production patterns, efficient APM queries. And then our final module will look at error handling, debugging, essential troubleshooting skills that will make you even more confident and self-sufficient DataPrime user. So thanks for mastering DataPrime's APM transaction analysis, and see you in the next episode.